Hello, my name is Riley Sikoryak, and today I'm going to be doing a skin, hair, and nail assessment. Before I begin, I just want to ask for consent. Jake, is it okay that I give a skin, hair, and nail assessment and have it recorded for my class today?
Yes.
Okay, great. So beforehand, I'm just going to show my area, showing that there's no visual aids or anything that would help the process of this examination. Okay, so put that back. Okay. I just wanted to note that if we were at a doctor's or hospital, he would be wearing a gown, so he can uncover and cover at certain parts of the exam. So, before starting the exam, I'm going to do an A, B, C, D, E rapid assessment, and then I'm going to be starting by looking at the skin and pigmentation of the patient. I'm going to be looking at the color of his arms and legs, noting that they're the same color throughout. I'm checking that he has pale, fair skin with a little bit of pigmentation, pink pigmentation. I am checking for hypo or hyperpigmentation. If there was not enough or too much pigmentation, I would obviously note that. Next, I'm going to be checking if there's any abnormal skin, like we were saying, pigmentation, any skin changes that I should be aware of. Next, I'm going to be checking the temperature of the skin. When I check the temperature, I'm going to be using the back of my hands, and I'm going to be checking throughout and making sure it's even. So, as well as when I'm checking the temperature, I'm going to be checking if there's any excess moisture throughout the arms and legs, which there is none, and temperature is not too warm, and it's at a perfect temperature, no sweating or anything that I should be aware of. Next, I'm going to check for temperature and texture. I check temperature. I'm going to be texture. I'm going to be noticing if his elbows or the soles of his feet or the palms of his hands, checking for any thickness and checking texture throughout his whole entire extremities. Next, I'm going to be palpating for pitting edema. So if you could put your legs up. So when palpating for pitting edema, I would grade it on a scale from 0 to 4, 0 being no edema. So when I'm doing that, there's no pitting edema occurring, and I'm going to do it on both legs, making sure that it's equal. And there's no pitting edema, so I would rate that at a 0. Noting that I would do it up and down the legs. So after that, I check for thickness. Next, I'm going to be checking for mobility and skin turgor. So I'm just going to be checking the clavicle and pulling the skin up, noticing that it goes back down right away. So after that, I'm going to checking for abnormalities in the skin at all, checking for skin lesions, bruising, or anything like that. If there was an abnormality, I would note the color, the size, the texture of it, and as well as I would measure it with a tape measure, and I would document all the findings that I've had. So after that, I'm going to see if there's any more lesions in the arms and legs, and I checked and there's no more lesions. And then I'm going to be checking the texture, and then now I'm going to be going on to the hair. So when looking at the hair, you want to look that there's normal hair in the eyelashes, the eyebrows, and in the hair. And you want to palpate the hair, and you would look underneath and know that there's no lesions in the head. If there's any lice that you can see, or anything like that. So he has short hair, so it's kind of not hard to check for anything, which is good. So I looked underneath, and there was nothing that I should be aware of or should document, and his hair looks normal. Next, I'm going to be checking for his nails, so I'm going to be looking at the nail itself. I'm looking at contour, color. I'm looking at roundness and the angle, and if it's consistent, smooth. So if I would check, the way to check for the nail bed angle is going like this. If you go like this for me, and I'm making sure, like this.
Like this?
Look at me. And put your, yeah. And I'm checking that there's a diamond shape that occurs. And I would notice the color, making sure that it is pink, and yeah. So next I'm going to be checking for capillary refill. So I'd be checking that on both hands and both feet. So I'm just going to be checking like this for me. Pushing down on the nail bed and making sure that the capillary refill is less than 3 seconds. If it was more than 3 seconds, I would note that, and I would note a delay. So after that, I would document any of my findings, any abnormalities that I would see, and if needed, contact a healthcare provider and note the changes that I've seen with the skin, nail, and hair assessment. Thank you.